Welcome. I appreciate you taking the time today. Today, we're going to talk about QuickSight Q, something I'm really passionate and excited about. Uh, when we can have the ability to empower business users to self-serve their own insights. My name is Kelly Burton, and I am a solutions architect on the QuickSight team. Our agenda for today is pretty simple. We're going to focus on the challenges we're trying to solve with Q. Then we're going to take a look at Q itself, both from the business user perspective and then what it takes to build Q and make it available in your organization. And then we'll live demo both personas. So to get started, this should look very familiar. You've got your QuickSight dashboard, lots of great content that you can make available to your users. We can look at sales trend, we can look at forecast, we can do some filtering, some drill down. But here I am. My name is Ann. I'm a sales manager focused on the healthcare vertical. And what I'm trying to understand to get ready for my planning meeting is how am I performing in healthcare? Who are my top customers overall? What are they purchasing? And then how can I make that relate to my planning for next quarter? As I look at this dashboard, I can see I've got some great metrics. On the bottom left, I can see that the healthcare vertical overall is kind of middle of the pack, but I don't have any detail on customers. This is what happens. We have so many valuable insights available, but there's always that next question, that what if, that I wonder how type questions. So what traditionally happens? Well, if I'm Ann, the sales manager, I reach out to my BI team and I say, hey, Dan, I'm really trying to understand who my top customers are, what products they're buying, and then how it relates to my specific vertical. Can you help me? Can you pull this insight for me real quick? Dan, who's a member of a very small BI team supporting the entire enterprise, says, hey, that's great. I understand you want this, but you're going to have to cut a ticket, follow the process, and get added to our queue. Well, Ann's a sales manager. She's not giving up. She's going to come back one more time. I've got my planning meeting tomorrow. Really, when can you get to this for me? Again, we have got a process in place. The BI team is a small team supporting an organization. Dan responds that he's onboarding. He's in the middle of another project right now. You're going to have to go to the queue. And quite honestly, because I've been on a project this week, the queue has just been backing up. So it's probably going to be at the end of next week. So Ann's going to get her information about who the top customers are, what products are being purchased, and how that relates to her particular vertical 7, 8, 9 days later. Those are the challenges we're facing. We're trying to understand and focus on how we can help our business users get answers faster and how we enable those business users to self-serve. So all those requests aren't going back to our BI teams who are already overburdened with these ad hoc requests that really what they're wanting to do is it's the same version of a little bit of a different query or a little bit different view and report, and you end up supporting 10, 12, 15 different versions of basically the same dashboard. So in order to meet these self-serve requests, we've introduced QuickSight Q. So what is it? QuickSight Q allows business users to ask business questions. You don't have to know keywords. You don't have to know SQL syntax to be able to format the question correctly. You can truly ask language in business questions in your natural business language. You get answers instantly. You're not waiting 7, 8, 9 days in an ad hoc queue to get the answer that you're looking for. You have the ability to get that information immediately. This one's a big one. The ability to ask about all of your data. We don't require business users to go to a particular dashboard or to a particular data set and know where the source of their information needs to come from. We allow business users to ask questions about all of the data. We understand business users don't always know all the dashboards that are available to them or all the data sets that are available. So you have the ability to explore all your data. And then finally, you have the opportunity to get started in minutes. And we're going to take a look at this. So very quickly, you can get the QuickSight Q up and available and usable within your environment. My focus so far has been on how easy Q is to use and how quickly we can get it set up. But what I don't want to get lost is some of the technical complexities that's really going on behind the scenes. So before we jump into the demo, I just want to deep dive on that just a bit. There are two key areas that we're focused on when we're talking about handling natural language questions. First is the query understanding, and the second is a data understanding. When we talk about the query itself, we have a business user asking questions similar to what you see on the screen. Show me weekly revenue, week over week, for California to New York in 2020. What does Q have to do behind the scenes? Q has to parse this data and also understand the intent of the question. So Q has to know when a business user is asking for weekly, they want weekly data, they're asking for week over week, so they're looking for a trend. We need to aggregate on revenue. Okay, California, New York are states, so Q has to recognize that. The business user is asking for compared, so they're looking to look at these trends next to each other, and it's got to be filtered for 2020. There's a lot going into parsing that question and understanding the intent. And add to the fact, there's a number of different ways to ask the same question. That's the power of what's going on behind the scenes from the query understanding. When we talk about data, data is messy, data is cryptic. Users don't know where the data is or how the data relates to each other. Data is all columns and rows. There's no semantic information. And typically it's the BI team who understands the aggregations of certain data sets and how those relate. Q has to understand all that to be able to understand which data sets need to be accessed and which elements pulled to answer the question. Just a little bit deeper under the hood at a 30,000-foot level, the way Q works is the first step is identifying the intent of the question. Then Q goes out and identifies the data set or data sets that can answer that question. And then they have to link the intent to the elements in the data to provide the answer. And throughout that process, there's a knowledge layer that describes the underlying physical data schema, and it's used to inform the machine learning models. That brings back the output, which is what we call an intent representation, or a SQL-like language that tells Q how to deliver the visual. And the visual goes back to the screen. So that's a lot going on behind the scenes from a machine learning component to be able to deliver this particular solution. And with that, let's take a look. Okay, so here I am showing my QuickSight dashboard, and I'm Ann. I'm looking in, and I'm at that point of my quarterly planning meetings tomorrow, and I want to understand who the top customers are, what are they buying, and how that might relate to planning for my particular industry. Instead of having to call up or get myself into the queue for Dan to create a new version or a new ad hoc request for me, let's utilize Q. So notice here at the top, I have my Q bar now available in my data set or in my dashboard. And I can ask questions like, show me top 10 customers by sales in 2021. But even though this wasn't shown in the visual in the dashboard, Q brings back and says, okay, here's your top 10 customers. I can see from a healthcare perspective, United Health Group is one of my top 10, which is great to know, but that's my only healthcare customer. Interesting. And just notice as I ask the question, Q restates the question for me. And it went ahead and understood that when I'm asking for top 10, that's a filter. It's pulling out the individual components within the data that will answer this question. So Ann quickly knows her top 10 customers. The next question may be something like, what products were sold into healthcare in 2021 by sales. I want to understand what products we sold into the healthcare vertical. Well, we can see our finance products, our site analytics, our contact matcher were big products for us, which is good to know. Data Smasher is our new product. We didn't sell a whole lot into healthcare, but that might be a focus area for us. Okay, so I'm getting more information. Now, I know United Healthcare Group was one of our top customers. I wonder what they bought. So Anne can go to the next level and just say, what did UHG buy? And notice, what did UHG buy? I didn't say what products. Q interpreted and understood I was asking for product, and we're going to look at how in just a moment. Q could interpret that when I ask for UHG, I really want to see United Healthcare Group. And that's the opportunity we have to set up different synonyms, and we'll take a look at that. So here we can see UHG bought our site analytics products, Data Smasher Finance Hub. Okay, good to know. Data Smasher is a big product for UHG. From a planning perspective, maybe this needs to be a focus for our other customers within the healthcare. I just spent about 45 seconds, what typically would take me 7, 8, 9 days waiting in that ad hoc queue. This is the part that Q brings to you, that true self-service. There's a lot of value that goes into being able to allow these users to ask questions. A couple of things from the user perspective as well. Notice I've got the opportunity to provide some feedback to my topic. So as we talk about building this topic out and making it available for users, I can say, yes, this was the answer I was expecting, or no, it wasn't, thumbs up or thumbs down. I have the opportunity to mark answers as reviewed, which means I know this is a solid answer. Every time this question gets asked, this is the visual that we need to bring back. I can add question variants. So Q knows what two similar questions also should get the same response. I have opportunities to change what I'm looking at as well, so I can change visual types as the user. All my responses can be downloaded to CSV, so I can take this with me and go to my planning meeting. We also have the opportunity, as you start asking more questions, and if Q is unsure how to define an answer and you define it, you have the ability to add that to your topic. So lots of flexibility as a user. As we peel back the covers and take a look at what it takes to get this up and running and go a little deeper in Anne's research, with QuickSight, you have the opportunity to create topics. Topics are what support Q. These topics are collections of one or more data sets that represent a subject area that your business users can ask questions about. So here in this particular topic, as we look at the summary, we can see our performance, what questions were asked over a given time frame. We can see what questions got positive and negative feedback, what questions were unanswerable. And these unanswerable questions allow you to go in and explore. Do I need to add more data to this subject? Do we want users to be able to ask additional questions? Or are there different things I need to do within my topic data itself to help Q understand the answer? We'll take a look at that. Here we can see the number of data sets. As I mentioned, you could have multiple data sets that support a topic, and you control the refresh schedule for those. As we look at the data in this topic, this is how you continue to help Q refine and derive answers. So I can include or exclude certain fields in the data. So here you can see I've taken my ID fields and excluded them. So that way when I ask for customer or I ask for product, I get product name and customer name, not my ID fields. If we look a little deeper into the customer field, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at some of the properties and attributes associated with this. Notice that we sell to companies. So when I ask for a customer, I got things like United Healthcare Group. I've got, Johnson and Johnson. And so I know my business users might ask for company instead of customer, so I can add a synonym. In thinking about this, I think, well, they may ask for organization as well, or maybe even just ask for org. So every time a question is asked, what are my top 10 orgs by sales in 2021? What are my top 10 organizations? I'm going to get the same answer as when I ask for customer. As we look at the opportunity to define different roles, we've got dimensions and measures within our individual fields. We can set up semantic types. So when we ask those questions, who or what, that helps Q determine what field to best supply the answer. We can set up default aggregations. When I do a count of customer, for example, if I want to know how many customers bought my finance product, I don't want multiple counts of that customer. If I've sold that finance product into multiple departments within that account, I still only want it to count as one. So I can set my default aggregation to count distinct. Notice we also have the opportunity to add synonyms for our values. So if I want to say and define, for example, my United Health Group, and what do I want the synonym to be? I want to be able to say UHG. I can add that. I want to look at Johnson & Johnson. And I know typically when my salespeople are doing a search, they're going to ask for J&J. Things like that I can add to continue to refine the topic to make it more usable for my business users. So now at this time, I could go up and ask a question. Let's say show sales by product for UHG and J&J in 2021 by org. So this will get me just United Healthcare Group and Johnson & Johnson. I want the sales. I want to see the products that they've purchased. And I want to do it by customer, by org, so I can look at them side by side. So I've got what I wanted. It's not quite the visual I want, so I'm going to switch my visual. And then here I can immediately see. So here I am as Anne, the sales manager, asking a question. I can see I've got a significant amount of Data Smasher sold in the United Healthcare Group, one of my top customers. I know it's a great product. What's the use case? What are they using it for? Can I turn around and create a sales play to go back to Johnson & Johnson? They've got a very, very small, looks like maybe even just a POC version of Data Smasher for that volume. What can I do? Very valuable from a planning perspective. And I've spent just a very few minutes being able to come up with that information. And I did not have to add myself to that ad hoc queue. Lots of flexibility in to be able to utilize Q for those business users. A couple other key areas I'd like to point out that are really valuable when we talk about setting up Q are the ability to add filters and named entities. So, for example, if you have, in this case, we're going to focus on our healthcare area, but if I have a health focus and I'm looking at a couple of vendors, in our case, we're going to say we want to look at UHG and Johnson & Johnson. So I can quickly say, hey, find me, I want to use United Health Group, and I want to use Johnson & Johnson, and I'm going to create a health focus filter. So when I ask for the health focus, I only get those two customers. So there's a lot of different ways as you're looking for the ability to subset your filtering and the way you ask questions to be able to implement filters. So now I have a health focus filter. The other great thing with named entities is the ability to allow business users to ask. I mean, order details is a big one. Show me the order details for this particular company. And when I ask for order details, I want a certain subset of fields. I want order date, order ID, product, customer, the contact name. Maybe I want to add country to this to see what geography I'm adding in. I can do that as well. So if I search for country, I'll add country to our named entities. So I can save these named entities. And this allows me, as Anne, the sales manager, to go up and ask a question like, show me order details for my health focus where sales is greater than, let's say, $1,000. So when I ask for this, I'm getting the order details for just United Health Group and Johnson & Johnson, where my sales were greater than $1,000. This is something I can use from planning. I can go here, I can export this, and be off and ready for my planning meeting. These are some of the valuable benefits of QuickSight Q. And what my goal was today was to kind of walk you through how to use this as a business user and see how easy it is to configure within your organization. Once you have the initial configuration complete, you can share this topic with users and groups within your organization. And then you can track. Q does a great job of being able to track all the user activity. So as an administrator, you can see all the questions that have been asked. You can see what there was positive or negative sentiment, thumbs up or thumbs down. You can focus on either the positive or the negatives. You can see what they were asking for. So here it looks like somebody was asking for quota. Well, we know quota is something we don't have in this particular topic. Is it something we should add? Something you can track and see if you've got multiple customers wanting to continue to ask that question, you can grow and build your topic. You also have the opportunity to look at verified answers. And so this gives your users the opportunity to say, yes, this answer is verified and something that we know should always come back when this question is asked. This also allows you, as an administrator, you have the opportunity to link. You notice we have one linked chart as well. So if you do have existing dashboards, as I mentioned earlier, customers don't always know all the dashboards that's available to them. So if there are certain visuals that could fulfill the answer to a question, you can link different visuals of your dashboards to a specific question and make those readily available to your business users. That's the high-level overview of completing and creating your topic, making it available for your users. So today, my focus was to show you, didn't like something here. Today, my focus was to show you, looks like my PowerPoint presentation went down, but that's okay. As a business user, the ability to self-serve insights, to be able to, instead of waiting that 7, 8, 9 days, you've got your answer back in a matter of minutes. And from a topic perspective, it's very easy to set up and make available within your organization.